Well, hey everyone, this is Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child. Yes, I am at the beach, like the picture said. It is beautiful. You can see, I'll show you a little bit more in just a second. Here with my coffee, because it is just 10 o'clock in the morning here. I know back home, it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, my time, 4 o'clock maybe other people's time. But I'm excited to be here. I'm going to talk a little bit about real life learning. Grab my notes before I lose them. And before I do want to just show you what we're looking at, because maybe you will go to the beach sometime, but it is beautiful here in Hanalei. Let me just turn this around and show you. Here's the coast. We got the surfing school here. You can see I'm on a pier. You can go around and you can see, and way out there, if you can see those waves, that is a coral reef. That would be some cool real life learning. If you come over here, you can see the boats that are docked. Hunter says in the summertime, it's filled with boats. I thought it was going to rain. It rained on us, because if you can see where those dark clouds over the mountain are, that is where I'm staying. I'm staying with my son, Hunter. And so I got a really cheap round trip ticket. But you come around here and we're going to see Hanalei Bay. It's just gorgeous. Unfortunately, I have to see the pier. But I'll just go quickly over here beforehand and then head on over there. But you can see the bay. I wish it was sunny, but you can still get to see a feel of everything as well. So let's just talk about real life learning. You may not be at the beach. You may be at home, and you may need some ideas on how to do that. So let me flip this around and get going. There we go. Okay, guys. Let me see where I was going to stand. Let's just try it right there. And I hope you can hear me. If not, put your speakers up and all. But it is beautiful. And I get to be here actually for a week. I got here last Friday. I leave on Sunday. The last 2 days we spent wandering around Kauai and Wailua, and we went to church in Princeville. We've been all sorts of places, and it's been gorgeous. This is just one place close to where Hunter works. I dropped him off at work, and now I'm here. So real life learning, one way that I think you can really encourage real life learning is just encourage a curiosity in your kids. Ask your kids what they enjoy, and then start to dive into those areas. It could be something like the beach, and like I said, over there where the waves are, that is a coral reef. Maybe if they're really into the beach, look at that. Look at the marine life. It's not much right here, but you can see sea turtles and humpback whales at certain lookout points. There's a landslide that we drive over all the time. You can find out, why did it landslide? Why erosions? These are all things like nature studies, and most of you are probably familiar with nature studies, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time. But if your kids are interested in anything in nature, that's what I would dive. Actually, I was cleaning out our bookshelves, and I found my kids' old nature study books, and it was really fun to look through them. Maybe your kids are into devices and games. Well, how could you do that? One, maybe say, well, how come you can get on the iPhone and do the things that you are doing? Let them investigate how the iPhone works. Maybe your kids, like my granddaughter, loves dogs, and so you could do that. All of these are things that I would call unit studies, and you've probably heard me talk about unit studies in the past, but this is a way that you choose something that your kids are interested in and curious in and dive into them. But I want to go beyond just that kind of thing, because like really going to the beach is like a field trip. You may not come out here to Hawaii, but you might do some other field trips. I tried to go on a field trip maybe once a month, maybe not as much when the kids were older. But I'm talking simple things like go to the grocery store and ask if you can take a field trip through the bakery. Now, I know things are a little different because of COVID, but things are changing up. So I would really encourage you, take field trips at things your kids are interested in. Or take a vacation. We took a vacation to Virginia after we studied the American Revolution, and we went to Williamsburg, Yorktown, Jamestown. Hunter and I were talking about that yesterday. For those of you that are just joining us, I will just say this. I forgot to ask you a question. If you're just joining us, one, I'm at Hawaii. I've already shown sort of what's going on and the beauty and the surfing school and all. But write down one thing that your kids are interested in that you could maybe try to turn into real life learning. You don't have to do this all day long, every day, but maybe twice a week, delve into something that your kids are interested in or something that happens that day. And I was talking about field trips. Another one is we all have state capitals. We took our kids to the state capitals, took tours. They were able to be runners between the floor and the congressman. We had to sign them up, but what a great experience and what a learning experience. Maybe let your kids go to dad's work if you're able to go to dad's work and discover that. Find simple field trips in your neighborhood, in your community that you could go on. When we lived in Idaho, you could take the back roads up this mountain and just discover things along the way. So field trips would really encourage real life learning. So first, find out what your kids are interested in and curious in, and dive into that maybe with a unit study that you work on 2 afternoons a week. Field trips would be something. And this isn't for everyone. Pick and choose what works for your personality, for your kids as well. What about games? Our kids loved games. We played apples to apples, and they didn't even know they were learning vocabulary. Games are a great way of real life learning, especially if your family is into games. Made for Trade was another one set in colonial times, and my kids learned all about the colonies and what life was like. All of these ideas for real life learning, I think, inspire a love of learning. You want your kid, many of you are like, yes, I wish my kids would learn for a lifetime. And I did too, and they didn't always like it when we were in homeschool, let's be honest. But I think when we can have fun learning, that doesn't mean everything's fun. There are things we just have to do. But if we can have fun learning, if we can encourage curiosity, find out what they're curious about, what they're interested in, and sort of move in that direction. This may seem obvious, but the thing is, too often, it may be obvious, but we're not intentional. We just keep cramming subjects down their throat. And so they are not able to encourage love of learning. The last thing that we need to inspire that love of learning is a mom that's somewhat low-key. That doesn't mean you don't have a checklist, but we understand that learning takes place in other ways than a book. And a book is great, and I think you can learn a lot by doing that. I believe that when we encourage a love of learning, we encourage kids to learn for a lifetime. My kids didn't always like learning in homeschool, but they do all love learning now. Which leads me to the final point. The final point is when you have a kid that's a lifetime learner, they are more likely to become leaders. Leaders learn for a lifetime. Their library is usually bigger than their TV, and they learn for a lifetime. And many of you, I know, want to raise your kids to be good Christian leaders that can influence the world, impact the world, even if it's just, and not just, but with their own children. They're all going to probably be moms and dads who lead well. As I'm talking, more people are entering the pier. Maybe I should be quiet. But anyway, those are just a few ideas. Encourage curiosity by their kids' interest. Take some field trips, if not every month, maybe not every month. Yeah, maybe just 2 or 3 times a year. Maybe plan a vacation about some place that's close to you that would be fun to learn about when you get home. Encourage your kids to be lifetime learners as moms. Oh, I forgot some things. Field trips and games. Play games. Find games that your kids are interested in. That was natural learning for us because my kids loved games. They still do. Lifetime, that leads to lifetime learning because they love learning and they will learn for a lifetime. And then, sorry, I have to look at my notes. It's a little different with people walking around, which can then lead to Christian leaders because Christian leaders will learn for a lifetime. Now, I'm going to see, I'm on my phone. It doesn't do the same. I was going to see if I found any comments, but I don't know where the comment button is. Let's see. Nope. Nope, I don't know. I will look at comments when I finish. I do have something I want to tell you about. It's a 5-day homeschool challenge that would encourage you to be able to encourage your kids to love learning. I will put the link in there. It's completely free, and it might spur some ideas for real life learning, lifetime learners, and a love of learning that raise your kids to be Christian leaders. I will put that on as soon as I get back to the computer. Thanks so much. I'm Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child.